The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.
We hope to help you. We want you to know that there's some life after the hurt. It's 9/11/2001. By noon, we all know where we're at. We're watching television or listening to the radio. We're focused. Not one, but 2 towers have gone down. Many of us wonder what we're to do. Many of our young people know exactly what they're going to do. Young, brave men and women decide to join the military and go fight whoever it was that attacked us this day. And we send them out to the Middle East and all over the world to fight terrorism. They have awful things happen to them. They see incredible sights that are not able to be described. Some give all. All gave some, in the words of President Lincoln. And then they return and try and adapt again to society. And it's very, very difficult. Post-traumatic stress disorder is also a brain injury. And today on Brain Mechanics, we'll be addressing this with a group of veterans that are trying to help through a program called Reboot Recovery. We hope that you'll watch this and show it to your friends, that we might be able to help them. And this is all possible because of the friends that we have here today, who is Jasper Hensley and Kenny England, both veterans, as well as Matt Duffin, the host of our show, also a veteran. Matt, over to you.
Thanks, Malin. It's quite a somber day, and that was a good intro for it. You know, it will be for the rest of our lives. And who knows what might be in the future. Because I grew up in Pearl Harbor Day being very, very, very important in my house. My dad didn't talk about it, but he was one of the strong survivors off the USS California. There's been books written about him. You know, he showed me how to attack living through the military. And he, as he liked to say, that was his first Purple Heart, and that was his first battle ribbon, battle star. He went on to get 17 more of them in the next 5 years. There's some things people don't realize how strong veterans are when they're becoming a veteran, how you're really a military person. He was 20 years old, 2 days and the bomb hit. Things that we forget about in this country wear on. It's already being downgraded. 9/11's being. Yesterday was, you know, the publicity for it's been good, and the showings and the talkings, but not the blessed memories. And you know, what happened to April 24th? What happened to May 16th? Those people were still gone. And there's still people fighting for our country to make sure it happens. And there may be an accident that takes somebody out. It may be an act of war. And for those, we should always be proud and feel for and become. That's one thing I think this nation's losing, is the pride that these gentlemen had of it just being in the military. You know, not wanting to go from the small town out farms of Indiana and all that, and hi, I'm glad to meet you, and you're this, that, and the other. Next thing you know, you're with New York people, or they're people. Once you all group together, you all wear that same little stripe. And that's what America needs to recover from, to be again.
Absolutely.
The veterans can lead the way. You know, my daughter's been in Afghanistan for a year. She has her own PTSD issues that she's starting to begin to battle. I love her. Jordan, thank you. I didn't serve with you. I can't thank you for your service. I don't know what you did. You know, but I'm glad you served. I feel like people should serve. You grow up, I don't care if you go to college or not, go afterwards. You serve. And yeah, you're going to become issues from it. You're going to grow up doing so. And in the process, get maybe mentally deranged, you know, maybe get shell-shocked, maybe just get scared like John has been when he was on the show. You know, of this, being in the same situation again is so traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know without story, I personally don't want to go back to Haifa, Israel. You know, there's reasons for it. I'm not a big Palestinian Libyan Army fan either, shall we say.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and that's what people need to do, become veterans and work their and again, that's what I was wanting to get to, is my mind slipping out there. We gather together.
Yes.
And we start to learn to recover. And you know, we're not scholars, we're not doctors, you know. I've learned programs, and this is certainly a little bit different than the programs I've learned. I'm finding good out of it. That's why I want them to talk about it.
Well, at our church, Milton Christian Church in Milton, Indiana, these two gentlemen participate and are members of our church. Mm-hmm. And they brought the idea of the Reboot Recovery because they need it, and they know they need it, and they want to share it, and it's just really neat. The church is supportive of them, of course, but they are conducting the program. It's not like, well, you shouldn't drink alcohol, but I'm not an alcoholic sort of thing. It's these gentlemen have been there, done that.
Veterans with their own travels.
Yes.
Has had their own after travels.
But it's held at the church. It's a current program right now that's going on, started August 28th. But Jasper, you brought this up. How did you come to? I mean, I understand why you came to church, but how did it come to you to get into Reboot, or how were you introduced to it?
Well, I came to church because I needed God in my life. And in return, God will help you through your troubles. And He guided me towards Reboot Recovery for servicemen and women that suffer from PTSD, like myself and like Kenny. There is you can go to support groups and you can go to therapy, but that only helps with your mind and your body. With Reboot Recovery, it helps with your soul. There's 3 parts of a body. It's body, mind, and soul. Well, if you only work on 2 of the 3, you're still going to be broken. So this program helps with your soul. And a lot of people don't realize that you can get soul wounds. And that's what this program does, is help you heal your soul.
In your experience, does it help both mind and body to bring the soul back?
It does in my experience. If you work on all 3 of them at once, it'll cohesion. There's a cohesion there. And you begin to feel better about yourself. You're not this lonely person anymore. You can learn to love again. And
wow.
With PTSD, when you first get PTSD, it's hard to love. It's hard to have fun. Your anxiety's up. You just want to be alone. And with this program, it helps a lot.
Neat. Now, the program currently is ongoing at the church, but you're planning to do this again. How long does the particular program last?
It'll last 12 weeks. It's 11 weeks of coursework, and then your 12th week is your graduation.
Okay.
So with the graduation, it shows the servicemen and women that we do care. It's something for them to hold on to. They get a certificate, a shirt.
Okay. Neat. Well, Matt, you've talked about the with your daughter, and I'm sorry to hear that she's experiencing this type of thing. But you know, we seem to be in a loop of endless war right now, with no particular. I mean, you mentioned 5 years for your father after being hit at Pearl Harbor. There was a definite goal in mind, and that was to defeat the Japanese and defeat the Nazis, and we did it. We set out
Somehow.
to do it, and we did it.
You know
Yes.
how? By heart.
Yes, a lot of hard work and a lot of blood and treasure. But currently the things that are going on seem to just leave our combatants, with maybe small victories, but we're not ending the war. And when the war was over for World War II, there are the pictures of dancing in the streets, and the famous one of the sailor kissing the nurse, and these scenes that I remember as a child. We haven't had that for you. We've not had an end to anything. And
No.
Matt, how's that, gentlemen? I've not been in the military. How's that going to leave us, and how can Reboot help? Kenny or Jasper, either?
Reboot itself, I believe that when we come together, when all the veterans come together, the men and women that have served and gone through what they've gone through, I can only speak for myself when I say that I volunteered because I wanted to serve my country and I knew what was at risk. But we're not alone. We're not alone. We have brothers and sisters, and we have Jesus Christ, who's there. One thing that was a part of Reboot is it's not a Bible study, but it's faith-based.
Okay.
So it's not like we don't have a psychiatrist sitting across asking you, how do you feel about that? We have brothers and sisters that feel the same emptiness or the same sense of guilt, and they can relate. So with the ability to relate to each other, that cohesion, you become a family, and when you're with family, you feel safe. And that's one of the things with PTSD that's hard to do. It's hard to feel safe. Being hyper aware and always thinking that something's imminently going to happen right then and there. A loud noise or somebody that you have not seen before that just pops in on you. Those things, you don't have to worry about that. We have that cohesion, everybody's there, and then ultimately you have Jesus Christ that's right there amongst us, walking us through each hard valley that we go through.
Wow.
And with this course, it's also it's family oriented. You can bring your kids in and they'll have child care taken care of, but if you have a spouse that is trying to comprehend what the soldier's going through, and it'll also help them. My wife's actually kind of a facilitator along with me and Kenny, and she's been on both spectrums. She grew up with a Vietnam veteran that had PTSD. So she can help the kids work through their situations with the veteran and also help with the spouse, since I'm going through the same thing.
Wow. Well, my first and only experience with this originally was a young man who I'd known since he was a child, taught him how to shoot and fish and these kind of things at our lake, and he called me. We were not yet living back at the farm on the lake, and he called me, and it was winter. It was really bitterly cold, about 1 degree or so, and he said, "Hey, I want to go down to the farm. I want to go down to the lake." I said, "Okay." And I said, "Well, you know where the key's at and all that, and help yourself in the house." He said, "I won't be going into the house." I said, "What? Are you going to ice fish, or what are you doing?" He says, "No." He explained that he's back from the first Desert Storm, and his mother's house was near a railroad track. He's on his bed asleep, and a truck with a trailer apparently hit the railroad track pretty hard, and a bam, 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 like that. He's rolled out of his own bed. He's searching underneath his bed for his M4, and it finally dawns on him where he's at. He's at Mom's house, but he can't stay there because he's so on edge.
Right.
And he called us as a refuge. He went out and camped out literally in the snow to get away from all the sights and sounds. It's hard for us civilians to understand, but I'm asking you to try and understand. And these sincere gentlemen here today, the three of them, all veterans, are there to help, and that's what the Reboot Recovery is about. And we support it at the church. I'm a church member, board member, and all that hoo-ah and everything else. But the important thing is to know that we're there with you. And as I joke about, which I probably shouldn't, but the big guy is there for you too. And it sounds like it's not a preachy program, it's a support program.
Right. It's more than a support program.
Okay.
Because we're there to heal your soul. We're not doctors by no means. But with the curriculum that we get, and to give you a little insight on Reboot Recovery, it was designed from Dr. Jenny and Evan Owens out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Okay.
And they were, back in 2011, they started doing it at Fort Campbell to help the soldiers that are coming back from Iraq, Afghanistan. And they seen such a big improvement on their soldiers and graduating that they finally put it out to other installations. Well, they had a big coming there, and they decided to put it out to these communities so they can help the veterans that weren't in anymore. And there's only one other program that I know of in the state of Indiana, or one other group that's doing Reboot in Indiana, that we need more communities to do this, and it'll help so many.
We need it to grow.
Right.
You know, people that are watching and see that share along with their thoughts and ways of our show. You know, whatever group you belong to, I suppose, if you belong to the Kiwanis. I mean,
yes, yeah.
You know, there's ways of getting it sponsored, you know, for the good of mankind. Just
if I could elaborate a little bit on what we're saying is that, as I was mentioning earlier, when you become a family, as we come together, we not only do we come and we're going through the course, and it's called a course for a reason, because it's not a Bible study, it's not anything else, it's a course to help heal our souls, as he was saying. But, you know, we get together and we eat a meal beforehand, you know, like family does.
Okay.
So you form family. And then as we go through and we graduate, as you were talking about with these other groups, the idea is that if, you know, somebody feels that this was such a success or it helped them enough, that then maybe they can start that in their area. And then it branches off from there. We already have one member now that that is, you know, we're in Milton, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
This person, I'm not going to mention his name because I didn't ask, but he's coming from another town, which is further away.
45 minutes.
45 minutes away, Muncie, I believe,
Yes,
right?
just to do
so
this
he's talking about starting it there, and when he does. Jasper and I are going to sign up and become participants there and help him along. And so it just kind of grows from there. And like Matt was saying, is each different, you know, as it grows, it just can move on through the state and expand. You know, sometimes there's people that just don't feel like they can be helped.
Yeah.
No matter what. And
that's not true, though, is it?
No, it's not.
There's some dark. It was communicated to me, as I said, we have a friend, some very dark thoughts.
Well, you know, one of the issues that comes with a mental problem is you're not going to talk about it. You're not going to bring it up. And then when you bring it up, and if your caregiver or somebody knew, or your kids or family or whatever, the only ones that knew, now you're asking for help. You want it right now. You want the help right now.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, you want to recover right now. Well, for one, you've just asked for help and patience. Patience is our guideline. Or I wouldn't be a son of Job. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to close out, I suppose, with me real quick. Schools and brain injuries and education. I'm going to another Help You, Help Me program this time on family and relationship statuses, coping skills this weekend, right along with Reboot right in the middle. And we have an event out in Plainfield, Indiana this weekend for support of TBI from the veterans and from the Moose Lodge and people like that. So, you know, there's things to do to keep yourself busy. What's everybody looking at each other for? Yes, I had a wardrobe change.
Well, yeah, I was noticing you're now Popeye, but...
Yeah. Well, class of 78 had their reunion last night. See, I was supposed to open with stuff this 9/11. You know, hi, guys. We had fun last weekend in the downtown library in Cambridge City. Imagine that. Got us guys in the library.
I'm trying to picture the class of 78 meeting at the library, but okay, all right.
We took our own band. When I was leaving, Jennifer and I was outside, and this lady and this guy were walking in the store beside us, and is that noise coming out of the library? Can that be?
Yeah, your class was not famous for library meetings, so I'm just saying.
I reminded her, no, ma'am, the class of 78 is having their 40th reunion. It's just starting.
Oh.
But, you know, we had a lovely weekend. It rained all through the weekend for everybody. And here comes the hurricane. We hope to see a month from now.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't reach that deep, and it looked like it was going to send a storm surge of 15 feet or so.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if people can know or see or imagine. That's a lot of water.
Yeah,
It's
a
a
wall
lot
of
of
water.
water. It makes aircraft carriers go like that.
Wow.
It makes
Well, they...
makes ones like my buddy Tim Sparks, the commander of the, where he was, when we got the Gompers on today. No, the Frank Cable. Timmy Sparks graduated from Lincoln High School, 35 years in the military, went from E1 to E9, and then went from 01 to 08.
Wow.
He ended up being the captain of a couple of ships before he retired last year.
Wow. Well,
He's my catcher.
what I want to convey to everyone is the fact that the program that we have here that these gentlemen have put together, which is from a couple of people from Fort Campbell and doctors there and that sort of stuff, but their sincere effort to help those who served, who we owe so much to and so much for. It's not about, you know, here you go, here's your pension, go off to college kind of thing. We've asked them to do unspeakable things in our name. And what is going on at Milton Christian Church with the Reboot Recovery is exactly to help people spiritually and to heal part of them.
As we're trying to make Milton, Indiana, one of the centers of brain-injured help of the universe.
Well,
we're getting there.
And it is.
94 countries.
Jasper's given me the okay to give out his phone number. If someone wants to give him a call to talk about Reboot, please be respectful. I think he still tries to get some sleep at night. I'm not sure. Try. But his phone is 765-541-1030. That's 765-541-1030. Or you can email him at jasper47357@gmail.com. Again, that's Jasper, Jasper, 47357@gmail.com. The program that's ongoing right now is basically enrollment is closed in that because it has a start and an end. You're looking to do this again, Jasper?
Yeah, we're going to try to do it again next fall, so we can just so we can make sure we get the information out early enough, unlike this time. It was just
delivering coping skills.
Yep. What'd you say?
It's delivering coping skills. It's a start of delivering coping skills for people with PTSD that have problems opening up.
Okay. Well, obviously, people need the help, and you know, today literally is 9/12. I'm awake, I'm aware, and it's 9/12, and I know what's going on. And what's going on is we have a lot of great men and women who've supported us, keep this country strong, regardless of all that you hear. Everything's not politics. It's about service and country, duty, honor, country, is it not, gentlemen?
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Politics, I don't even think got mentioned, did it?
No.
Fair
So
winds
it's
and
out of
following
that.
seas.
What I want to say is that we need to be there to help, okay?
Right.
Matt, thank you for putting these programs together so that we can reach out like that. Again, that's Reboot Recovery at Milton Christian Church. You've got Jasper's number and email.
Yeah, and of course, anybody, you can email me. I haven't looked in a couple of months, but anybody wants to email the show, talk to us, call me, interested in being on the show, talking about their life, their recovery programs. I'm pretty easy to talk to.
Yep.
Unless your name's Jennifer, then I can be mean.
Just one last thing is that Reboot, when Jasper and I started, we had to go through a training course in order to leadership. It was called a leadership training course for Reboot. Okay. And it was really important in that course that they told us that this course is not to fix us. It is not to fix our problems. It is only to help us heal. Only to help us heal. We can't heal all the way. The Lord is the ultimate healer. These are just tools to help us, and just like anything else, you can only get out of it as much as you put into it.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Matt, as always.
Malin, as always. We're trying to come up with little gifts for people, but we haven't quite hit the financial budget part of the show yet. But eventually I want to get out little things for people and our guests. And
Well, on our next show, we can talk about that.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
guys.
Thanks for being almost downtown Milton, Indiana. Right now it's downtown IU East.
All right.
Am I still talking? I will.
The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.